y'all, it's Joanna and welcome back to Teen Book Tuesday. So before I tell you about this week's book, just a reminder, on Monday at about 3 o'clock at the Courthouse Library, we're going to be doing some Harry Potter trivia. So the Harry Potter series is one of the most frequently banned or challenged book series of the century. And when a book is banned or challenged, that means someone has tried to take it off the shelves of public or school libraries so that other people cannot access it. And since it's Banned Books Week next week, we thought what better way to celebrate our right to read what we want when we want than with Harry Potter trivia. So we want it to be kind of fun. We don't want it to be super cutthroat or high stakes. Just bring yourself and come hang out with us while we talk about Harry Potter. So we'll be starting at about 3 o'clock. If you need to come a little bit later because you're just getting out of school, that's totally fine. Just show up and we'll add you in. Okay, so this week's book is called The Shadow Cipher by Laura Ruby, and it's the first book in a new series called York. So we do have the official copy available in our collection, but the copy I read is called an Advanced Reader's Copy, or ARC. So an ARC is kind of like the final draft of a book before it actually gets published. So there might be some typos, there might be some things missing from it. But it's mostly ready to go, so publishers send these ARCs out to reviewers and librarians and people who need to read the book before they order it. And then those people send their feedback back to the publisher so they can fix any big mistakes or issues with the book before it gets published. So you can see on this copy in the first couple pages, there's a notation that says Map Art TK, and that indicates that in the final copy, a map is going to go on these pages. So we gave a lot of these ARCs out as summer reading prizes, so you might have actually gotten one. So if you got a book from us from the summer reading program, take a look at it. So that's just a little piece of how a book gets published, but I think it's pretty interesting to know what that process is like. Okay, anyway, so The Shadow Cipher is set in New York City, but it's an alternate timeline of New York City. So it's kind of similar to our present-day New York, but there are some big differences. For example, in this version of New York, the whole city has been engineered and designed by a set of twin architects. These architects' names were Theodore and Teresa Morningstar, and they lived in the 1800s version of New York in this timeline. So in the story, they're supposed to be these like super geniuses, and they design all these iconic buildings, and they make that version of the subway called the Underway. So they've also left behind, after they died, a long series of clues and puzzles called the Cipher. And supposedly if you solve all of the Cipher, you will find yourself with an immense fortune and treasure at the end of everything. So of course people have been hunting for ages and ages trying to solve these clues, until we end up at the present day with a new set of twins called Tess and Theo. Tess and Theo live in this apartment building that was designed by the Morningstars. Their friend Jamie also lives there, and they find out that their building is being purchased. And it's being purchased by this big evil land developer who wants to tear the building down, and everyone who lives in the apartment building has to move. So Tess, Theo, and Jamie decide if they can solve the cipher, they'll have enough money to purchase the building and they can keep their home. So it's a little bit like Stranger Things, a little bit like The Goonies, but all with this kind of steampunk atmosphere. And of course, since it's the first one in the series, it ends in a cliffhanger, so we'll have to wait until the second book is published to find out what happens. So come check this one out. We will have the official copy of it ready and on display as soon as it comes back in, because it's out right now. So next week I'll be reading this one called The Marrow Thieves, and I've been waiting for months to read this. I'm really excited to talk to you about it. I hope you all have an excellent week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.